Okay, so I decided to finish volume 17, which is like the start of the next chapter, which is the birth ceremony chapter. I was making such great points and everything about it, and then realized it isn't part of the arc that I want to talk about today, which is the binding chain arc. I love the fact that we started off this arc with the Skull Knight, but did he eat the Behelit or the Behelit? Or whatever you pronounce it as? What's that going to do to you? Is that going to do anything? Is the only way to destroy one of those things for the Skull Knight to eat it? Is that the only way? Like, is that what he's trying to do? Like, what was going on there? I love the fact that this whole Behelit thing is still shrouded in so much mystery that I have a million questions about it, and I don't think it's going to get answered anytime soon. This Binding Chain chapter was so short. It was like probably about the same length as the Black Swordsman arc. But what I love about this chapter in particular is like how much more intriguing the new characters have felt. I like instantly jive with them. I feel like they're going to be such great either assets to Guts or foils to Guts. I feel like every single character who we've been introduced to now plays some kind of pivotal role in the story moving forward, and especially since I think we are now in a part of Berserk, a part of the story where it's mainly about Guts and his mental well-being and his inner turmoil and his decisions too. Like, I've read a little bit of the start of the next chapter, which is the birthing ceremony chapter, and yeah, it's like questioned then too, but I'll talk about that when I finish that chapter. But I feel like this is like a really good examination into Guts and what he needs to do, what he's doing in the present, and what he's sacrificing himself in order to get to his goals. So there are voices that Guts can hear telling him that he is a monster and he can be a monster like Griffith. And I don't think Guts would ever do that. I really don't. But when you examine exactly how like Griffith ended up becoming Femtor, you can kind of, again, like bring that parallel with Guts and Griffith. Griffith was being tortured for an entire year, and like I can't even imagine the pain of that. And again, I'm not like trying to justify what Griffith ended up doing, but you can see with Guts, he is now being tortured pretty much every single day of his life. He can't get a moment's rest. And what I love about this chapter is how human it makes Guts. It's very easy to see Guts as this killing machine, like he has no weakness or anything like that. He just wins every single battle that he comes across. But actually, this arc really stripped him down to the essentials. Literally as well, when we have him later, you know, kind of half naked and his arms being taken off him before Furnace and she's whipping him. We are really peeling back the layers of Guts. I absolutely adore that look into it. It makes him a lot more human, a lot more... I mean, I could sympathize with Guts from the Black Swordsman arc, I really could. I could see the level of trauma underneath. But I really do think what Miura's trying to do now is kind of bring a bit more lightness to him and I guess make him a bit more likable, even though I feel like he has been likable since the beginning. But that inner turmoil, especially with Guts reaching out to Griffith in that panel, oh my god, what a brilliant panel. That's his goal, but look at how much darkness surrounds him. Look how much distance between Griffith and Guts there is. It's like some things never change. That distance has been with them since the Golden Age arc, when we see that panel of Griffith at the top of the stairs and Guts at the bottom when Griffith is giving his speech. Some things just never change, you know? Like, he's still striving to get to Griffith and to get onto Griffith's level, or Femtor, for one reason or another. And this reason is obviously to destroy him, to get revenge for what he did to the Band of the Hawk and especially what he did to Casca. And you know what I think is so monumental for that growth and that progression with Guts is Puck. I fucking love Puck. He is one of my favourite characters ever. And even Guts says, you know, I can't keep tense with you around. Taking it seriously just seems silly. And I feel like Puck is so important to Guts healing. Like, not just literally because Puck can heal Guts, but like internally too. Like, he can heal those emotions. I feel like Puck and Guts are tied so intricately together in terms of emotion, especially since Puck can feel Guts' emotions too, and he can really get a sense of the inner workings of Guts. I feel like Puck is the only character who can genuinely feel what he's going through. We can't understand it, because there are still moments when Puck is still questioning what he's going through, but Puck is the only character who can actually literally feel what Guts is going through. I guess other than Casca, but like Casca's in a whole different world of her own. But I think it's like a really clever kind of dynamic that Miura has done. I genuinely feel like Puck is the key to Guts healing eventually. I wasn't really sure about the Holy Iron Chain Knights in the previous arc. I wasn't sure if maybe they would be a big part of it or not, or if they would just be another body count for Guts. But no, it was actually so brilliant again to see Guts kind of losing the battle. When he's surrounded and stuff, like, he's obviously human, he's obviously so tired, he barely sleeps, he's already been through so much, and he is continuously fighting for his life every single day. Like, there is a limit. There is a limit. It's so great to see Guts actually reach that limit, because it brings some believability to his character and what he's going through, even though this is all fantasy. I love the believability of that. And there's like a moment when Guts can't even grip his own sword. And I was like, what is like the meaning behind this? I can't grip my sword. He's doing too much. He is doing way too much. But he doesn't really have much of a choice. You know, we have these knights that are following him around and they're trying to take him in, to take him to the Holy See. S-E-E, the Holy See. And I'm like, okay, that's intriguing. You've piqued my interest there. Why? Like, why do you want to take him there? What's the point in all that? But do you know how I really like? There are a couple of characters, because like, Fonnes is complex. I have some things to say about her. There is Serpico, who I kind of liked as well. I need to keep an eye on him. He doesn't really put himself in the forefront too much. I think his strength lies in kind of being in the background a little bit and affecting what's happening in the bigger picture without too much of a presence, you know what I mean? Like, the best way to describe it is when Guts is charging towards Fonnes and he's got this like wound in his leg with an arrow in it, and Serpico throws a piece of wood that hits Guts that nobody really sees. Like, it's a blink and you'll miss a kind of moment. Guts doesn't even say it. He's very strategic and clever, and even though Fonnes gets all the credit for stopping Guts because, you know, Guts falters when the wood hits him and it looks like Fonnes like stabs him and stops him, I feel like I need to keep an eye on Serpico. And just the way he smiles and stuff, I don't know why, but like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Foss. A little bit. Not in the terms of like being a little shit stirrer, but he's kind of a little bit calculating. Like, he sees the bigger picture before him. He just seems smart. He really does seem smart. I really like Azan, the knight he ends up fighting with, because he really follows his code. And I love characters who have honor. I mean, sometimes some people push it. Some people hide behind, like, say, a couple of characters hide behind religion. But for Azan, like, he knows the code of the Knights. Like, he sees Guts is not on top form, and he's kind of given up now, you know? Like, he's been stopped by Fonnes, wink wink. The other knights in the Holy Knights are about to like kill him and stuff, but then Azan is like, no, like, that's not the way. That's not the way you're supposed to do it. You know, he can't defend himself. Like, that would be a dishonor to the name of the knights. I love any character who has morals in this world, because there's so few. So to actually have that rule and that code and that character following them, it's just a refreshing change. I liked him. But Fonnes, she goes through a lot in this arc, like this little chapter, and I do sympathise a lot with her. I'm going to stick by what I said in the Lost Children arc, where I said it seems like she might start questioning her faith. And there was a lot more instances in this chapter where she kind of does that. So firstly, she does have Guts. Like, I couldn't believe Guts got captured in the first place. I thought he would like escape that whole scenario. Fonnes has him tied up in her tent and she's whipping him. Can I just say like how much of a parallel it is between Guts and Griffith yet again? When Griffith got captured and he was being tortured in Midland, like, he couldn't shut his mouth. Griffith could not shut his mouth when the king was around, and he had to make that comment about the king desiring his own daughter, which led to things getting worse for him. And it's the same with Guts. Like, he can't keep his mouth shut. So when he says, from where I stand, you're the same as that idol you worship, completely hollow, she goes batshit crazy. Like, she can't hear the fact that what she believes in isn't true, or what she believes in doesn't like justify her actions, and yet she goes batshit crazy as well. The parallels between them, seriously, Guts and Griffith, wow. God does not display his miracles on this earth lightly. He dwells always within our faith, in our hearts as well as in heaven. And Guts is laughing and he's like, did you study that in a convent? It's like, yeah, it's so nice of you to be able to recite this, but like, have you experienced it? I feel like that's what Guts was getting at, and that's kind of why Fonnes had such a visceral reaction to him questioning what she believes in, because, you know, saying is sometimes believing. And especially, actually, there was a big part of this arc where Puck was even like, you know, sometimes humans don't say what's right in front of their faces because like they're just not looking or paying attention, or they don't believe it. And I feel like that was like such an important thing to examine with Fonnes, and that is why it was so important to have her experience what she experiences later in the chapter, to open her mind and her eyes just a little bit more. And extreme religion really does scare me. And the way he just looks at her, he doesn't really react. He's just standing there. He almost seems disappointed in a way. And you get Guts, who is experiencing hell on earth, versus Fonnes, who obviously hasn't experienced anything of that degree, but she is just reciting things that she believes in, or like things she's been taught, but not things that she's actually witnessed with her own eyes. And there's almost like pity there in his eyes. I can't quite get it. Like sometimes Guts is very hard to read, and that's what makes this so fun to read. It's like, what is Guts thinking right now? I can say what I want about it, but am I saying like something like totally different to what's actually being portrayed? But I think that's like the genius of Miura and the way that he illustrates his characters, is that they can have a reaction and you could interpret it in so many different ways. Oh my god, when Guts is in the cage and there are obviously the monsters that are coming towards him and he needs to escape and Puck has the keys and Puck is like, I'm only going to give you the keys if you say thank you, oh great one, or what is it? Thank you very much, oh great Puck. I just love all of that so much. The way that Puck's little eyes go a little bit crazy, just like, I just love them so much. Fonnes whipping herself, that's very interesting. That's something that I'm not 100% sure I can give a reading on, because I think there's so much to unpack there and so much that I probably still don't understand about her character. She's praying, she's saying, dear God, please guide me. She seems herself to be very lost. She herself is one of the lost children that we explored in the previous chapter. It was interesting, actually, that she was introduced in that chapter and the knights, the holy knights were introduced in that chapter. It's like, we are all lost children. God isn't giving us, them, any direction whatsoever. So we're all kind of just wandering on this planet in all aimless directions. As much as extreme religion does scare me, I think it's something that is so worth exploring. And especially since Fonnes doesn't even perceive Puck very much. She can't really like see him or perceive him, and Puck is even trying to explain that to Guts. It's just like all about belief or something, isn't it? Like she's not believing what's right in front of her face because she's so blinded by her own faith. So yeah, Guts has captured Fonnes and she can't believe her eyes when all of those freaky looking demon things come and attack. She's scared, you can tell in her eyes that she's scared, but she's also got this look of disbelief too. But oh my god, shit hit the fan so quick. The dogs, the dogs are absolutely scary, but nothing compares to that freaking horse. That horse, what was that horse? What the actual fuck? I was having none of that. I was like, wow. But what I kind of liked was Guts' reaction to it, like how powerfully he felt the need to defend and save Fonnes, especially since it ends up paralleling Casca in what she went through. So having Guts react in such a way, I feel like quells a lot of my concern about the way that Casca was portrayed during the eclipse. It kind of quells that a little bit for me, because this was a definite kind of showcasing of sexual abuse, and the R word is like completely and utterly despicable, disgusting, wrong, and we have a main character here who is going to defend and save any person who is about to go through that. But it's reassuring to know that's not being glorified in any way. It's like if you try that, then Guts will literally take your head off. And now I'm even more excited to explore Fonnes in the future. She is like, I merely sought to escape, shivering in fear. Not once could I call upon my lord. I avow myself a woman of God, but not even the name I've invoked a countless thousand times. And then it like trails off. It's like, yeah, God couldn't come and save her. Nothing but Guts saved her from the horror and the hell that she experienced. So I feel like this was a huge turning point for her in terms of, yeah, her question and her faith. And even though she ends this chapter with her telling Serpico to kill Guts, I feel like that was a more of a gut reaction to Guts, a gut reaction to Guts, who has made her waver her faith. So she's clinging on desperately to what she believes in, because what else can she believe in? What is the darkness that is before her that is gonna overtake her life? You know, it's kind of like, I myself am an atheist, but I would never ever want to take away from someone who believes in heaven and all of that, because being on this earth and thinking that it's just going to be over when we die, like that's such a bleak prospect and something that is so like scary. Honestly, it's something that I'm a bit scared of, not gonna lie. But to have the faith that there is something bigger and something you can believe in is something that I would never ever take away from someone else. So it's nice to have something to believe in, as long as you're not enforcing that on other people, and as long as you're not using that to justify awful actions, which is kind of what Fonnes kind of did when she was whipping Guts. She kind of hid behind her faith a little bit when she did that. And that's probably why she ended up punishing herself, because she knew she took it a bit too far. That's not what God stands for or represents. And I wonder if that's why she kind of got a little bit possessed by the end of this chapter 2 with lust. You know, like she was possessed by this whole demon thing, and then she was like riding Guts' sword, like, oof, like that looked a little bit painful, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of felt it. But that whole moment when she was like punishing herself and then getting possessed by lust, which obviously kind of opposes what you believe to be right and true. Yeah, it's kind of like that whole dichotomy there. I'm not smart enough for that conversation though, so I'm just gonna like brush past it. I do feel so bad for her, I really do. And I love the fact that Serpico, I mean, his eye is kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie, when he goes to attack Guts, when he sees that he was not gonna do that. Again, he's very calculating, he's someone I need to keep an eye on. But even Guts is like, nice draw style. You as well, just as I expected. Farewell for now, you too, little one. He's so interesting, isn't he? He's so good though. Hell of a dodge. Guts can really appreciate him. Farnes really wants to kill him. If he's allowed to live, then again, like, she doesn't finish her sentence. She keeps starting off this question of whether she is true in what she believes or not, and she doesn't finish her sentence. Like, she can't finish her sentence yet. So I can't wait for the moment when she finally does finish her sentence and says, is what I believe not true? Do I need to change who I am in order to fit in with this world? I need to stop hiding behind my extreme ideas of religion and actually open my eyes. You know, like things like that I think so important for a character arc. But another really great arc, you know what, I'm finding it hard to actually rate them because I find that they're all becoming really pivotal to either the plot or character, I think, or sometimes a mix of the two. And I find it hard to rate this chapter because it was lacking a little bit on the grandeur of the battles of the previous arcs, but it was still important in other ways, you know, like not every single arc has to focus on big battles to be good. So I don't know if I should like stop rating these arcs because I'm really enjoying them. And it was such a little chapter 2. All I want to do is read Berserk. I'm in the middle of so many things right now that's hard to just like sit down and enjoy, but I'm telling you, as soon as I get the other stuff done, it's just all Berserk. You guys should have bullied me harder to read Berserk earlier, I swear. This is on you.